Hey, we're the Game Faces, and today we will be talking about the game Octodad, Dadliest Catch. I'm Greg.
I'm Jen.
I'm Alex.
I'm Brandon.
I'm also Brandon.
I'm Natalie.
It doesn't say. I'm Nick.
I'm Blaine.
And I'm also Nick. And I made the poor decision of thinking that saying my name would have gotten in the way of thinking about what to say first. I don't know why I thought that was the case. But it certainly did feel that way. Yeah, so we all played Octodad over the course of a long period of time. But we got it done, so good job, team.
We got it done. We got it done.
That's right.
What was the approximate game length that we were going for? 4 hours was what we were?
Ours was pretty long.
Mine was definitely longer than that.
We did.
Our last level was about 4 hours.
Wow.
We did 4 hours
that's
and
pretty
40
crazy.
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our entire game was less than 2 hours,
What?
Yeah, mine was an hour
Liar.
including recording nonsense of syncing and all that stuff.
All right, so yeah, I guess people had pretty varied experiences here, but for Blaine and myself, it was pretty easy and straightforward. I think it was sort of advertised as being this thing that you're going to make a ton of mistakes on because the controls are so zany wild. But the fact that you didn't need to control your legs and your arms at the same time, I think really cut down on the complicatedness of it. But overall, I enjoyed the game. It was pretty funny, and the controls were entertaining enough as the sole draw.
Yeah, the only time that you actually had to use your hands, like you switched your hands really quickly, was the last level, if I remember correctly. Is that correct? Because you're actually in motion and you have to switch.
Right.
Right.
Like before you grab the fish and then go to the other table. You all know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
When you're running from the
Are you talking about clogging the fountain?
No. When you're running from the chef,
Yeah, and you grab the ball and you swing over the thing.
Oh yeah.
you swing over the fire.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. You slide along the zip line like
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
That's what we're talking about? Okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah. I understand. So those people who took 4 hours, what happened? What went wrong?
We can go last. Jen, Brandon, and I will go last.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did everyone play this on computer?
Yes. Yeah.
We played with a 360 controller on computer.
I was on a controller.
That might have helped.
Oh.
I would not recommend playing this game with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah,
It was really hard. I wouldn't recommend it either.
Controllers are pretty
A lot of the difficulty.
Brandon,
No, I used it with a mouse. I didn't have that bad of a time with it.
I definitely did.
hey, Brandon Walsh. Brandon
I
Walsh,
feel like, yeah.
did you play with the Magic Mouse?
No, I don't have a magic mouse. I just had
Oh.
a 2-button thing. I think the problem for me was I could never quite get a handle on how the sensitivity of the mouse was matching up to the sensitivity of how my legs were flopping around. And then also that so often, especially towards the end, there was like zero margin for error. It was like you make one false mistake and you're falling off the top of the playground, or you're falling into a bunch of flames.
Right.
Oh god, that playground climbing part was pretty.
Yeah,
It's pretty
that's
rough.
definitely the worst
I don't
thing.
know.
It was-
Brandon didn't have a problem with it.
I think that was the hardest part in the game. but
Yeah, the
maybe-
playground was the
No,
worst.
that
finish.
chef. The chef at the end was the hardest.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? There's no comparison to the chef. Brandon, this is coming from the guy who basically went up the playground with no problem. He fell off
No
once,
problem.
and then yeah, it was no problem. And then the chef, it took us like 2 hours.
Yeah, it really did.
I can't even imagine that.
So, I mean,
I have evidence. I have evidence.
Well, we have video in case you want to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
thanks. I could see this this game being a lot harder with a different control scheme. With the Xbox 360 controller, I mean, you kind of just push the stick to max, whatever you were doing. So if you were walking or whatever, and then it was only gentle controls if you were moving the hand around. So
It's
Speaking of,
very different on mouse.
Very
Yeah.
different. Yeah.
Because
speaking
you
of
don't have a hard limit on how far you can just keep pushing the mouse forward forever.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Does the limb keep stretching forever? Because that
Well, it became more an issue of momentum. So, like, if you did it forever slowly, it wouldn't go very far, but it would go high up. But if you, like, shot it forward, then you would do some, like, roundhouse kick type move.
oh yeah, we're doing many roundhouse kicks.
Yeah. Yeah, I spent a lot of the game just like flailing through the air helicopter style.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think the most sensitivity came from my push button finger, which has been hurting for 2 days.
Oh man, I hate gaming-related injuries. You can't do anything.
Yeah, there's no way I can work this out except for playing games, right? So like, I don't know my limits. Octodad is my limit. 4 hours Octodad, 5 hours Octodad.
Wait, so how are you guys actually doing the co-op thing, Greg and Jen and Brandon?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Oh, you played co-op.
No, we didn't play co-op.
You didn't
We
play co-op? Okay.
played
I thought that's what you said you were doing.
Well,
Because there was co-op. It was in there, right?
yeah, it's an option. We so
We
we
did a
switched
modified
off.
co-op.
Huh?
I said we did a modified co-op.
Yeah. The first thing we did, we each just were switching off. Like if we had, I don't know, between tasks, or like Jen chopped the wood, I mowed the lawn, Brandon pulled the weeds. It was a it's a good community effort.
It takes a village
Yeah.
to clean up one house, which seems inefficient.
The real co-op effort was in the rafters.
Well, and prior to, we were running...
Oh no, yeah. The run, that was the most important one.
Yeah. Basically, we had... The Magic Mouse was wirelessly...
Wait, hold on.
You guys were just handicapping yourself the whole time.
Wait a
using
minute.
mouse.
So, no. Check this out. So we were playing with the Magic Mouse. If anyone's ever seen this, it's super thin. Like it's very difficult to play this game with.
Not a very good gaming mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good gaming mouse.
Not a very good mouse at all.
I don't know if I'll agree with that.
True.
Well,
no middle click at all. Sorry.
Okay. So we did the whole thing with the Magic Mouse. We even did the escalators with the Magic Mouse. And so after facing adversity for so long, we got to the chef, run away from the chef in the flames part, and we were just failing miserably. And Alex is sitting there watching us for a really long time, and he's like, okay, all right, let me get my mouse, and you guys can play with my mouse. So he brought his mouse, we plugged it in, and we tried using it, and it was worse because we were I guess we were overcompensating the whole time using the Magic Mouse. But then we discovered that if you leave Alex's mouse plugged in and the Magic Mouse on wireless, you could do both at once, and the limb would extend ultra far.
Super fast.
So after an hour of being in the flames, we decided to just go for it.
That was the only way we had any hope of beating that level.
It was the only way. We barely got to the bananas with just the Magic Mouse.
So you just like took a ridiculously long step all the way across the level or something?
Yeah, he was
What part
zooming.
of this? This is I don't even know. I can't even remember.
Is it running across the countertop or whatever?
Yeah.
Around
It's
the
the
room?
sequence after the countertop when you're in the rafters above the fire.
Okay, so it is the
prior to the rafters.
Prior to the rafters. That's when we first used it.
No, I thought they were including the countertop thing.
Yeah, it was the first part where the room gets set on fire and he's like, "I'm coming for you." We should probably
I remember
know.
it very well.
Yeah. Coming for you, octopus, and he's like chopping up the tables,
Yeah,
and he's
play
like,
out
"I
the
didn't
whole
know
thing.
that there was this. I didn't mean to put this much fire in this place." And you're running towards the screen. Yeah, you know.
Except, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been burned into your memories, though.
Oh,
Alex, how did you stand that? How can you do that? How can you sit by while people fail repeatedly?
It was hard because I've never used the Magic Mouse before, even for gaming or whatever. So I didn't realize until they said, "Wait, can you go ahead and give this a stab during the tabletop chase?" So I did it, and I was just like, "How have you guys been playing this game this way?" Like it just suddenly kind of made sense. I mean, I just have I don't have like a special mouse or anything. It's just an old like super early Razer one that I got off of like a cheap Woot deal. But,
yeah, it's just a mouse with buttons. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good feature.
The biggest thing to me in the game to kind of get a grasp on the controls was when you move like either leg for when you're actually like physically moving. It's kind of getting a feel for the weight of your actual like the physics of your character body, and then when you can alternate between the legs, then you kind of get like a rhythm going if you need to like move. But I mean, that was the biggest obstacle. And I think what was hard about the Magic Mouse is because the whole thing is one giant button, it's hard to get independent clicking on that.
Oh God, it doesn't even have hardware right-click, does it? It's the touch area and...
Yeah, I think it just detects what side you're clicking.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I remember I played like one round of StarCraft with that mouse before, and I couldn't right-click anything. I could never get the right-click to work. Something about the way I do a right-click with my hand doesn't mesh with that mouse at all.
But leaving the Magic Mouse aside, it seems like it would be really hard to...
So important.
It seems like it would be pretty difficult to get a rhythm for moving because when you're doing it, you would like alternate left and right click, but you'd have to keep moving forward and bringing it back because it's a mouse. With the controller, you could just hold forward on the left stick and alternate triggers. It was amazing.
No wonder it took you 2 hours.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I played the trial in a store on PS4, and it's the same way, and it was amazing.
I feel like you lose something doing that way, because part of the charm is being so awkward with it and moving like you're from the Ministry of Silly Walks.
Or like you're an octopus.
Right.
It's as weird for him to be in a human body as it is for you to try and work those messed up controls.
Exactly.
Maybe we should just cancel this broadcast and do it after you guys have played.
Come back when you're on our level.
With a Magic Mouse?
Yeah,
I played the original Octodad on mouse and didn't finish it, didn't want to play it. I guess I get it.
Not only did we play it with the handicapped mouse, but we also I broadcast my computer onto the TV, and for the first part of the game, the TV would freeze sometimes, so we'd look at the screen and use the screen. But it got into a rhythm. It was fine, and then after we were done with the game, we realized that there was like a huge lag. And yeah.
We were just handicapping ourselves at every turn.
Yeah,
that part is not the game's fault.
At this point, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, which has our stats. Just give me a second.
And then at some point we realized there was duct tape all over our hands, and...
It turns out I actually am an octopus.
The physical comedy of the game manifested itself in real life while we were playing.
Okay, Greg, you're going to have to talk. Or I can click you.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Wait. If I click you, I might never unclick you, so I'm not going to click
you. You can just click him again and then unclick him.
Is it? Okay, I'll click him. There
you can actually unclick him.
Alright, I believe Greg is frozen to the screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you see these stats? Can you get to these in the game?
Yeah, you get extras.
I'm too far away, so can you
How
read
did you
them?
collect so many ties? I think Blaine and I found one tie.
One tie!
What?
And it was because it was like in your way.
And it was the first tie in the wedding.
Tutorial tie.
Nothing else. I didn't see
Never
any other
seen
ties in the entire game.
I like that it tells you how much time you spent using your legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Jen had a grand time watching me try to collect one of the ties
In the arcade.
in the arcade.
I didn't even see them.
It was
There was-
awful.
there's a tie on top of a bunch of rocks to the right of the what game was it?
It was the one where you threw the fish at the...
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one up there, and so you had to climb up on top of a bunch of. You had to use the whack-a-mole game and climb on top of the whack-a-mole game, and then move across all the other games onto this, like cross a river basically onto a big chunk of rocks. And I did that for about half an hour. It was
pretty rough.
it was a long time. But I just want to point out here the times caught is 143. I guarantee you this is nothing like anything that anyone who's watching this is going to experience.
Caught is like you arouse people's suspicion and then you have to start over or whatever?
No,
the
it's,
purple bar goes max, right?
you die.
Yeah, you die or you're
Hmm.
too suspicious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had like 5. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, in the stealth level we had got a million, but
Whatever that level was.
Yeah, I think I maybe died twice until the end, where I just died over and over and over and over and over again. You know,
How did you
that
accomplish
mechanic.
so
like
many
1,000
times?
times.
Well, we definitely died over 100 times at that last level because
Yeah.
we got that achievement that was like world's 100th dad or something.
Yeah. Did you guys get that?
No.
We got.
I think my favorite part of the 4-hour, 40-minute session was Brandon screaming at the tabletop chase, getting, "Get on the table!" As he's the one playing, but he's shouting at the Octodad to obey him. that was the best.
It was very funny. It was certainly entertaining. It was equally frustrating and entertaining at the same time, in a good way.
Nick, Natalie, I recall you guys not having as great an experience with it. What did you think?
I think we disagree with your opinion that the joke itself was strong enough. The joke of the gameplay was strong enough to carry an entire game.
I mean, I would modify your opinion of what we said, but go on.
Okay. I think we were getting kind of bored. The humor wasn't enough to keep us excited about the game. Maybe it's because it was just the two of us, and
We thought the wedding part was great. We thought the wedding was wonderful. I don't know how long it took to do the wedding.
It was a beautiful wedding.
All that was great, and then the meeting after was still kind of good, and then that would have been a fine game, just like that. That was it.
that much. Yeah. That was, I think,
General
my biggest-
impression, right?
Your general impression was just that it became more like doing chores. Like you're
Doing
actually
chores.
doing chores in the game, and they're supposed to be fun because it's wacky and you look so ridiculous doing them. But eventually, they're still chores. And once the joke kind of wore off for us, I think it was like, okay, now this game is kind of a chore.
I tend to agree with that. The actual chores, I didn't find that interesting. The supermarket I thought was pretty cool because those things were a little more varied. But all in all, the game kept giving you something to do and then making you do it a couple more times with no increase in difficulty. It was just do it again, and I felt like that quickly became a chore. But the game was so short, I mean 2 hours for us, that it didn't really matter. It was just, I put up with worse things in games.
Yeah, but I don't want to put up with something when I play a game.
Our play time was only also 2 hours, and we felt started.
No, I think that's totally fair. I was actually thinking at the very end of the game, I would have, I don't know, maybe the joke would have worn just as thin, but I thought, I don't know, I think you could have really improved Heavy Rain if you went with Octodad controls, or if you just had a Heavy Rain parody starring Octodad, because I don't know, just the idea, they're kind of the same game in a lot of ways. You're going through a story and you're doing kind of really easy tasks, except you're hitting a couple buttons to do it. And yeah, I don't know. I think I think they would have both been better games if they had learned something from each other.
Interesting.
A more serious story, I guess. A longer story, not longer. A more serious story for Octodad might have been a little. It would have made the being an octopus thing a little more ridiculous.
And I guess it would have been fine if the first level was chores, and it's like, this is your life. Or, you do the wedding, then you do some chores.
And
but
it would have
then,
been the same thing as Heavy Rain in that sense.
But yeah, then stop doing rudimentary things, right? Move on to something exciting as Octodad, which I guess the boat was a little bit trying to do that, but it was just walking around, so it wasn't.
What was the deal?
So you guys are somebody who did it properly is going to have to explain to us what the boat was about, because I think we missed the point on the boat.
It was the prequel.
Yeah, it was him meeting his
Flashback.
wife, right?
Not like the story, but the gameplay. So our impression was that it was like a stealth part,
Yeah.
and you were supposed to stealth around these guys, and it wasn't very clear how to go through the boat part. and after not understanding at all what, like, it was totally unclear what we were supposed to do, I just like wrapped around the side of the boat and just like ran. And so I just bypassed it entirely.
How?
I mean,
That's awesome.
I think
There was
that's
definitely a lot you
fine,
could skip.
right? You're using
I think that's fine, yeah.
But like,
I suppose it's not. You're saying it's not interesting that way.
No, we were saying we couldn't do it. We tried to get past the first set of sailor guys or whatever, and we could not find a way to do it. So
Yeah, to be honest, we kind of cheated too. We walked across that beam that was right in the middle.
No,
Above
even
everything.
before that, you kind
you're
of just walked right in front of their faces.
like
Yeah.
the very beginning, you
You just moved
like,
fast enough.
you're on like the side boat,
And there's crates.
and you board the boat, and then like to the right, there's the first guy, and he's like looking around. I don't even remember.
There's like a gap
Yeah,
between
yeah, yeah.
crates, and there's like conveyor belts after that, and you're supposed to weave through.
we
there.
didn't know what we were supposed to do.
Yeah, I did that part. I just kind of ran really fast when I thought they weren't looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
I think that is the preferred solution.
Maybe I'll watch a video of it or something.
I have one. I will.
Yeah, I heard that.
All right.
I guess one thing that would have been nice is if he maybe gained new abilities or moves you could do throughout. That might have kept it fresher. Maybe.
I kind of saw that sequence on the boat go like when, like the easiest way to get across the main section of the boat after you sneak past those two guys was to go across that one giant beam, and I kind of saw that as the precursor to what the finale was going to be.
Yeah, that's exactly how we did it.
I think that's like the implied way to do it, but like, how you get past the first two guys? Didn't
You
figure
just
out.
get seen and get a little bit of purple, but not full purple.
Well, they kind of
It's
do the Metal
stormy,
Gear
they
Solid
can't see you.
thing where they change where they're looking.
Right. I mean, we got that, but I don't know.
Maybe we just give up too soon.
The game wasn't really built for the stealth, so it didn't work that well. Like, I don't know if cones of vision would have helped, like, indicate exactly when you should go or what you should do, but it was kind of unclear, and even when you went and you thought you were safe, you got seen, so I don't think that was implemented very well.
Yeah, probably the combination of an awkward control scheme with stealth is a really bad combination.
It might have been funny if it was like, you got to a scene where it's obvious, like, this is a stealth setup, and then you're like, oh my god, how am I going to do this stealth setup? Okay, here I go, and then it turns out to be like, it's impossible. Of course you can't do stealth, you're an octopus, and then it takes you like a boss you're not supposed to.
So what you're saying is it should be more like German Whale of Mystery.
Yeah.
I thought a lot about that while I was playing this game.
Seafood, stealth.
And in the same area, I remember thinking, I don't remember very clearly now, but I remember thinking that like how they implemented dying or getting caught was really, really unpolished. Like
That was the first time we died in the game, I think.
I don't remember even what happens. Like you get
Like
you
ink blots, and then
ink
you
blots, you, like,
reappear.
and then it just restarts. Like I don't remember what it was. It just didn't make any sense. And
It's pretty confusing the first time. I remember it just randomly happened to me in the very first level. I don't even know what happened. I like went through a door and then suddenly everything turned purple, and I don't understand. I didn't understand why. Because I don't think there's anything that kills you there. I don't think it's even timed or anything. It's just...
Maybe you triggered some of the stuff in the main wedding room to all fall over and cause everyone to realize you're an octopus.
I like shook a thing and it vibrated over to the wedding hall or the
Maybe, I don't know.
yeah.
Greater.
I mean, on the whole, the game is like a stealth game because you're trying to fit in, but the idea was don't get seen doing something weird, right? So it's kind of like a situation in a stealth game when you can move when they're not looking at you, but then you have to stop and stay still. But instead of stay still, you just have to not be doing something weird. And that made it really unclear, like, what you're supposed to be doing, when, and what's the best way.
Yes, like hitting your children with your legs. That'll make
You're
you.
trying to pour for them.
That guy's an octopus for sure. He's snacking his child with his tentacles.
They probably could have gone without the failure states.
Just have it be
I'm not convinced
goofy.
this was a good idea.
Well, let's go back to point. Brandon, you said earlier that I think there could have been maybe better gameplay if you would have added more moves and whatnot.
I think so, because some of it got a little stale after a while, but if you had different moves that you could pick up and learn, then that might have kept it a little fresh. But again, our gameplay was 5 hours long instead of 2 hours, so maybe for a shorter amount of time it wouldn't matter.
Do you think that would remedy some of the concerns that everybody else has about it?
I think at least what Nick and Natalie were saying. Because you all got bored with it, right?
Yeah. I don't know, maybe we just have bad sense of humor, but...
I mean,
I think it's reasonable
like, there were very few times in the game where, like, it's a game where you expect you're going to be cracking up at all the funny, like, physical humor, and I don't know, we were just kind of staring at the screen playing the game. There were a couple parts where we were like, oh, that's funny, and that's outrageous, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I get that. I would say I mostly laughed at the things that were planned. The freezer at the supermarket, that was a little funny.
That was cute, yeah.
Yeah. There were always hats that you could get and put on, and that was like me having fun with myself, so I get that. You didn't do that.
Oh, we picked up hats all the time.
Love those hats.
I feel like you guys are making this up.
Nah, they're like a...
Wait,
like
they were
an
hats
anglerfish
throughout the
hat.
game? I thought they were only in the aquarium? No? Was that
No, everywhere.
They were everywhere? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also put on glasses at one point.
Yeah, we did.
Because there was definitely a sign that said free hats in the aquarium, but I didn't really go for anywhere else.
But later on, you could not put a hat on your kid. So, 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
I couldn't even put a hat on myself. I kept hitting myself in the face with it as I tried to navigate my tentacle high enough.
I kept hearing, your tentacle's behind you. Your tentacle's behind you. You're not putting on the hat, right? You're not getting the glasses. You can't put it on the back of your head.
I mean, one thing I liked that really kept it fresh was I thought the writing was really good. Like, I thought the sort of dialogue that would happen around you while you were dying over and over again or failing utterly, and it would like change a little bit every time. I thought it was really funny in a lot of cases and often really moving. Like a lot of the stuff that the children were saying, I was like, these sound exactly like my niece and nephews.
Right.
Yeah, I felt like an Octodad while playing it.
Exactly.
I think I found it was strange after the fact, thinking about how polished the game was. Like it was an amazingly well-polished game. Like they had all these sound bites, they had all these scripted scenes and things like that. When that sort of was the opposite of how I felt about like the gameplay itself. That like I was feeling like that it wasn't a worthy enough piece of gameplay to build that polished of a game around. That sounds really harsh, but
no, I think that goes for like almost every video game ever made, I'd say. that really accurately applies.
It's like they built this beautiful house on a really weak foundation or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would say that upgrades don't fix that sort of thing. If you need to resort to new abilities and upgrades, your core game just isn't strong enough.
No, I can see that.
Really good short story.
Yeah, I can be on board with that. I think they maybe shouldn't have made it a full game, because it was, I don't know if it was always planned to be that way. I thought it was just like a student project and there was a level or two at its very start. At least that's what I heard. I never did play it before.
I complained about it being a full game when it was so short, but that's what I want to do.
But it should have been even shorter. They shouldn't have made you do things 3 times in a row, because there's no reason to do that.
Yeah, why were there 2 or 3
escalators?
What was that about?
Oh, no, okay. I think that you guys really should play the game of the mouse. Yeah. I think the best part about it was just like triumph in the face of adversity. Like the escalator part was awful. It was so hard.
But why do you want to do that twice then? Why isn't one time enough?
Because the second was faster and it was ridiculous.
I had no idea.
We
had no idea.
Thank goodness, and then you see this other one in your face, and it's like, no,
I
just did this.
Was it really faster? I mean, that is a good thing.
Yes.
Okay. Because that is a good thing that Nick and I have talked about that games do is they'll give you one thing that's really hard and impossible, and then you beat it, you walk around the corner, and there's 2. And that's kind of that, it forces you to rethink whatever you just did to defeat it, to defeat the enemy or whatever it was. But I didn't feel that way about the stairs. It was just like, oh, let's do it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
That took us a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a lot of struggle. all three of us did it. And
I mean, maybe the game is more interesting when it's less controllable. That's entirely possible.
But
I mean, if that's the whole point.
This kind of game, yeah.
Well, there has to be a point, right? Like, there can't be, like, you can't literally just, oh, whatever. There has to
Well,
be
I feel like you can make it hard as long as it's possible to master. I mean, that's what feels cool, is doing something difficult, but doing it well because you've practiced or whatever. You learned something.
we had to basically practice on those escalators because it was like roundhouse kicking up the escalator or ballet dancing up the escalator. And it took us a while. Like we got really close to the top a lot because we thought that we had a hang on it, but then we just stumbled down to the bottom.
I'd say our greatest sticking point was the playground, getting up.
Yeah, the playground was the worst.
Yeah.
There was so much, like, vertical climb. Just like, hey, here's the ladder. I didn't even know I could climb a ladder as an octopus. And I still don't think I can. Even with a controller. Never mind a mouse. I don't know. I can't even conceive of how difficult that must have been for you guys.
For me, it
but
was
apparently
like
it wasn't, so.
For me, it was not the ladder, but it was like the bouncing on the playground. I was like, I can't jump, so I don't know why sometimes I'm bouncing higher and sometimes I'm not. Let me just try and time this randomly.
Yeah, it felt a lot like that.
Jen, you had fun at the mini games, right?
Huh?
You had fun with the mini games, right?
Oh, that means. Yeah, until we had to redo them because we thought you lost our tie.
And then we apparently didn't have to redo them.
So no, those are fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they put in a lot of things like that that were like something interesting to change it up a little bit. Yeah, the aquarium had a lot of different little mini things like that.
How was the part of plugging the leak for you all? Because that was really hard.
That was really hard for us.
It was tense, but there was no failure.
Really?
I think that was the first place that I died. And then after that, it was just downhill.
I think one thing that made our gameplay so different, Greg, was also that we played in a group. I don't know how many of you all played like in a group setting, but that made it a lot more fun for this kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just the two of us, and I think Nick was playing really well, so there wasn't a lot of doing things over and triumph, over difficult things. So.
Yeah, for us there was lots of yelling, lots of laughing, and even more yelling.
I had a lot of that too, but I was alone.
Was the cat there? Maybe it was the cat.
The cat was thoroughly unimpressed by my screams. Yeah, I guess I'm with Greg in that I felt like the mundane things that you had to do over and over again, and the fact that so much of them were just about like a domestic life just made it all more moving. Like, oh, I'm going to go do this really small, minute thing for another person, like pour them a glass of milk or something. And it made it so that I felt much more invested in the story because everything was on such like a small personal level.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that that's cool, but I felt like it should escalate by the end to where you're defusing a bomb or something. That would have been so hard, right?
That would have
been great. That would have been great.
I liked interacting with the kids.
Yeah.
I liked cooking the burgers. I was trying to cook 2 burgers at once, and it was almost a disaster.
Did you cook yourself? I cooked myself at one point.
You cooked what?
I cooked myself at one point. When you have to set the smoke alarm off in the employee break room, I just stood on the oven and he starts smoking and crying.
What?
That's really fun.
Brandon almost did that, but he
It was a change of perspective, Greg. Change of perspective.
That was killer.
The sacrifices he'll make.
I just wanted to roundhouse kick all those scientists.
We tried.
I think you should have lured them into a back room and then got to beat them up.
I need to talk about the final level with the fountain and plugging up the fountain. I thought that was so strange. Why is there a fountain in a cafeteria? Why is he standing in the middle of the fountain throwing knives at you? Why can you plug up the fountain with paper lanterns? Like, none of it makes any sense. It's almost like they had to have the fountain in the game for some reason, and they're like, okay, how can we make a boss fight around this weird fountain?
They modeled the fountain. They can't not use it. It's there.
That's really interesting
I
because
just thought it was really strange and contrived.
yeah, I'm thinking about that right now, and as I was playing, it was just interactable object A and place where it goes. I didn't even put together that they were paper lanterns or what was happening. It was just, this is the thing to do.
I think that is one place where it took us a long time, so I had a lot of time to just sit there and analyze and say, why are we doing this, and why is the character saying, here, throw this, plug it up, and you're like, why? Just...
She knows exactly what to do. Plug it up, she says.
I thought you had to play ring toss with the lanterns and the chef's hat. It just, the like size of the holes looked right to me, but that wasn't even...
I kept trying to fling chairs at him, but the game wasn't having it.
I was getting caught in the tray collector thing.
I know precisely what the last level should have been. It should have been a hall of mirrors where you're dressed up like the chef and you got to act like him, because that's what you've been trying to do the whole game is act normal. So you got to fool him into shooting a mirror or instead of you or something. I don't know.
I was kind of indifferent about that final last sequence with the plugging the water fountains, but I kind of see it as, I think the climax was really the whole chase thing and then the rafters, and I almost feel like the thing that happened with the fountain and plugging them was more like narratively just bringing it, like landing it with getting the family, like it's like the family acknowledges you are part of the family. They don't care you're an octopus, and then like you're working together, and then you also like kind of like resolve the whole thing with the chef, so he doesn't want to kill you anymore.
That's all totally.
So it's more like they came to that conclusion and were like, how do we want to do that?
Yeah.
They could have done it in so many more sensical ways, though. They can make the game however they want, and they made it in a weird way, and that bothers me.
I totally agree. I'm not saying I understand why they did that. I think that's just like what they were going for.
I would have much rather they had just skipped that. Like you get down from the rafters or whatever, the roof caves in and traps the chef, and then the final gameplay moment could have been you walking up to him and physically hugging him. Like, using your arms. That would have been cool.
That would have been beautiful.
Chase him and then hug him.
Yeah, sure.
Take notes.
So really, there should have been more octopus hugging in this game.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's just that the last level was a boss fight in the way that every other game has a boss fight, instead of in the way that Octodad should have had a boss fight.
I guess it was kind of just you were fleeing stuff mostly in terms of your interactions with the world as the octopus. It would have been neat to have to use your limbs in more interesting ways, like hugging people, or if you had to play not Connect 4. What's that Twister?
Jenga? Oh, Twister.
Jenga?
Jenga might have been something too.
I mean, you should have had a job interview, right?
And we didn't. Something. I guess you didn't use 8 arms ever. It was just 4 limbs. Why didn't? I guess it would have been nice to use the other 4.
It could have just been Octo-Human. We've got 4 limbs. Same thing.
Or yeah.
Human Dad.
Dad. I would have liked the game.
Oh, that would be so cool, actually, if the last sequence involved somehow having... Because there were 4 characters, like there was the 2 kids and then the wife and the chef, and somehow you have to save each one of them with one of your limbs from getting swept away or something.
Oh, that would have been interesting, yeah.
And only an octopus could have done it.
Only an octopus. Yeah, I guess that's what was missing. Things that only an octopus can do. Except for the swimming, because the swimming was really, really boring. I didn't enjoy it anyway.
Yeah, swimming was definitely at the low point, I thought.
Yeah.
And yet, I still died.
Yeah, then we...
I liked the swimming. Even though, like it was really short. Like, if it was longer, it would have been really bad. But
it felt forever to me.
I thought it was really beautiful. It was so chill.
Because to me it was like
There's a shark chasing you. How's that chill?
To me it's like your
after the shark.
To me it's like your character's doing really complicated things, and it's as easy as a click of a button. Like you just press one button and you do all these great things. It's the opposite of what the game was.
He's finally in his own.
So he's in his. He
suppose
knows what
that
he knows how to live in this world, and it's kind of showing you that.
You could just become an octopus again, abandon your family. I think that's what it was like. That was the point of the game.
You could just
because he was trying to convince you that he was trying to convince your wife that you were dead or something at the same time.
Maybe it was showing like how simple your life would be if you were just an octopus,
Yeah.
as opposed to being an Octodad.
I'll buy that.
That was another part of the game that was kind of abrupt though. Like it was suddenly you're an octopus and everything's quiet and you're like, there's a shark after me? What event? I don't understand. That's another part where I felt like it kind of was choppy transitioning. Complaining.
Grr.
It's important.
I really like all of the music in this game. Like between the theme song and the music that was in like the deep sea area and like the dance things, like I really like the music.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
My favorite part of the music was in it got old after playing the fire part a billion times, but the operatic whatever was blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. They always subtitled his speech, and I didn't like that. I think just the sound he makes should have been enough.
You had to know what the emotion he was conveying was, though.
But you could read the scene. I think it's better if you don't know, honestly.
Well, what about the hearing impaired, Blaine?
That's true.
It's true.
Well, that should be a setting then.
Octodad speech on, subtitled on, and off. You have individual subtitle settings for each character. I think some games do that, actually. Or some things do that. I guess it would only be games would have that many settings. Have we said all we have to say?
I think the good thing overall is because we had so many ways that we would do things differently or whatever, I think it seems like a game that had a lot of potential that we were excited about, at least. That maybe if they had done some things differently, it would have been better, but that at its core, it wasn't bad.
I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was... I mean, this is obviously based on our experience that it was 2 hours. There were some things that was like, I wouldn't have done this, but it was over so quickly that it didn't matter. And I felt it had a little bit of charm, so that was fine. I'm not nominating it for greatest anything, but it was a game I played and am okay with.
I'm glad that we played it. As a group, we had a lot of fun. It was very frustrating at times, but it was good. A good frustrating, at least for most of it. at least until it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and we still had 50 more deaths to accomplish before we beat the game.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. I think if they made another Octodad, if they had more features, more wacky gameplay elements, I'd try it again. I'd go for another Octodad on the cheap.
I think it just needs a little bit more theming. Just if the point of the game is that you're trying to fit in, put me in more situations where I need to fit in. The supermarket is not a big deal. You can wear sweatpants in the supermarket. It's fine.
They can just watch Chicken Boo.
Yeah. I think Nick even said something about that.
No, the game is definitely based on Chicken Boo. Like, there's no way that these people... I assume they're approximately as old as I am. I'm pretty sure it was a student project when it came out. So they probably watched Animaniacs, and they probably know Chicken Boo. Like, that's like half the humor in the game, where people are pretending you're not an actor.
The only difference is that you don't die by having feed thrown at you and then revealing yourself. You just
Yeah,
Of
you can control yourself in the
Yeah.
face of Octochow.
Of course, I never saw Octochow, so that could be another thing that happens next game.
You have to sneak the Octochow out of there with no one seeing you.
So the moral of this story is everyone needs to go buy a wired Xbox 360 controller so that they can play games in the future.
Or not, depending
Or
on
not.
perspective.
Apparently, the game
No,
is
we
so
need
much
a
more
Magic
fun.
Mouse, and you guys need an
Yeah.
Xbox controller.
You just need to play all games. I really have to wonder what was it made for? Normally I don't really buy into paying attention to artist intentions, but this I'm kind of curious here. You know, what did they make it with the 360 controller in mind? I'm pretty sure it was 360. Was what they originally had it on. But I'm not. I can't be.
I mean, I played it years ago, the original non-Dadliest Catch, on PC when it was just a free little thing, and I played with mouse and keyboard, and I played it. I was like, this is funny, but I don't want to deal with this. Like, I don't want to keep doing things this way. And I probably wouldn't even have liked to play it, except that I went into Best Buy to try out the PlayStation 4 controller to see if it was any good, and this was the only playable demo. So I was like, oh, all right, this works pretty well. I like this controller. The game's fine. It's less difficult than I remember. So
Did they have the option for the controller in the demo that you played at the time?
I don't remember.
Because that was a long time ago. That would have been about 3 years or so.
2010,
It's 2010.
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You can contact them, Nick. I'm sure that they respond to your email.
Whatever.
Young Horses, is that right?
I'll try tweeting them.
Oh no.
If you want to.
I will. I will
Live tweeting.
Live tweeting.
But not in the way you're used to. You're just going to hear keyboard sounds. And
Let's see. What do you want to
yeah,
say?
I mean, I guess they're pretty much different games, depending on the control scheme. Usually it doesn't matter. I hadn't even thought about
That's not true. How's that? What are you even talking about?
What, that usually it doesn't matter?
It totally matters. It
Why would it
always
matter?
matters. It matters 100% of the time.
No, in an FPS it matters in multiplayer only, but if they're separated, you
No,
know,
the
controller...
things they ask you to do are different based on whether... Sort of.
Eh.
That's why people complain about consolification.
You just turn on the auto aim or whatever. Aim assist. That's what it's
Yeah,
called.
that's a completely different game. Something where...
Well, I mean, I think this game really brings out how the controls really do affect the story, right? Because the alienation you get from these controls, which are completely screwing up these normal everyday tasks that you would do, it's really like it's exactly what Octodad's going through.
Right.
Whereas if you're just playing on a controller, it's like a completely different thing. You don't have that same sense of like meld between story, like, form, and design, and narrative.
What would you call what control? Not control scheme was it meant for?
What is the ideal control? Oh, input device?
Okay.
Yeah, input device sounds good.
Human interface device? That's what computers call them.
But you're gonna get... We gotta email them. I'm gonna email them. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the tweet. Don't worry about the tweet, because they're not gonna say it.
No, man, it's already tweeted. I said
I'm not gonna say it out loud. Delete it quick.
they can
So
join. They
what
can
if
join
this game-
us. No, man, I'm inviting them to join us and live on the podcast.
Delete it now.
What if this game was on the Kinect?
I wouldn't own it at all.
The-
Would
I don't
everybody,
know,
like,
man.
have a heart attack? Like, I don't know. I think you'd have to take breaks quite often.
There is that game on the Kinect. I think it's Kinect Adventures where you are plugging holes in a glass wall where water's coming through. So there's that. That's a thing.
I mean, it would probably be. I mean, this is assuming the Kinect was functioning properly. It would be easier on the Kinect because it would just see what you're doing.
I thought it was
you
going to
couldn't
be
walk.
less awkward.
Tell me how you walk forward on a Kinect. Tell me. Just
You put your foot forward usually.
I think it would hurt more playing it on a Kinect when your ungrateful wife throws your stuffed animals that you won with your sweat and blood Away. I don't want this one anymore. It's too heavy. Oh.
That was no good.
That was no good. She should have kept them. She should have been piled down with a mountain of stuffed animals.
And and then when she was throwing them in the tank, she had a lot more stuffed animals than we gave her. So who knows?
What other
Patty
octopus
was given her that stuff.
Does she have other families? Who's
Well,
the
she-
liar here? Who's the real liar?
She could have had children with other non-octopus.
Well, that's sort of the
Entities.
implied at the
Yeah.
end, right?
I don't know. Well,
What?
maybe
No.
They're
maybe
like, if we're
I thought it
human
was just,
children,
hey, she's got kids with the octopus. It's fine. What's the problem? That was my interpretation.
yeah.
maybe it's like X-Men when the kids hit puberty, tentacles start growing out of their ears.
I actually was sort of expecting that to happen in the last scene. Like all of a sudden, the son reveals that he's been an octopus all along.
That would have been pretty good.
If Octodad could have controlled 2 arms, I would have liked to have conducted an orchestra. That would have been another fun thing. Octodad 2 needs to get on. Like, you've got 2 controllers and you got to play them. Use both sticks at once.
That reminds me of the Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Wind Waker. Like,
You need that other hand when you're conducting. It's not doing anything. It's not keeping the beat, which is the only important thing.
Anyway.
Anyway. Is that it? Are we good? Have we
Okay.
exhausted talk about Octodad? I'm out of stuff.
I think that's it about Octodad.
All right. Well, next, we don't have anything planned right now, but we're going to get on that. So, but in the meantime, you can, if you go to thegamefaces.com, you can check out. Jen posted recently a link cables post, which is a bunch of links to cool gaming stuff. And today, Brandon posted a little number on Brandon Walsh, that is, posted a little number on Twitch Plays Pokemon. Which, yeah.
All hail the Helix Fossil.
Gosh, so funny.
So yeah, go check it out. You want to, either of you guys want to say anything about this while we have you on air?
No.
It's all in the post. Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to visit the website. Cool.
The work speaks for itself.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we'll see you viewers next time. Thanks for tuning in.
Faster, Nick. You're not meeting the refresh rater.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.